Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive that you specifically asked for to get into the next generation of Xpeng's high-end electric SUVs.
That's right.
We're looking at the G6 and the flagship G9, the upcoming 2026 models.
And our mission today is really to cut through the marketing hype and get to the technological core of what's happening here.
And it feels like the core isn't a small change.
Mm.
It's a huge leap.
It's a seismic shift. The big story, the feature we have to focus on is speed, but not acceleration speed.
Right. Charging speed.
Charging speed. Xpeng is making a really direct challenge to the global performance EV market. They're using a next-gen electrical architecture, pairing an 800-volt system with what they're calling 5C supercharging.
So this is them trying to plant their flag, not just as another EV maker, but in that mature premium space.
Absolutely. They're betting everything on solving range anxiety by just making charging ridiculously fast.
And when you look at the raw numbers, the claims are, well, they're kind of remarkable.
They are.
The smaller G6 SUV coupe is apparently aiming for a peak charging rate of 451 kilowatts.
Which is already very, very high.
But then the larger G9 SUV goes way beyond that. It's claiming just a staggering maximum of 525 kilowatts.
You have to put that 525 kilowatt number in context.
Oh.
I mean, for a long time, the gold standard for rapid charging was something like the Porsche Taycan.
Which peaks at what, around 320?
Exactly, around 320 kilowatts. And even the newer competition coming out of Asia, they top out around 390, maybe 400 kilowatts.
So Xpeng is claiming a lead of over 100 kilowatts on some of the biggest names out there.
It's a very, very aggressive statement.
It is. And that leads to the big question, right? 525 kilowatts is a massive number on a spec sheet. But what does that actually mean for you, the person sitting in the driver's seat?
Well, that's the most compelling part, the real-world translation, assuming you can find one of these new ultra-high-powered chargers.
Which are still rolling out, of course.
Of course. But if you can, Xpeng is claiming both the G6 and G9 can go from a 10% to an 80% state of charge in just 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
12 minutes. That's not a coffee break. That's barely enough time to check your text before you're ready for another, 400, 500 kilometers?
They said a 10-minute top-up adds something like 450 kilometers of range.
That's the claim.
That just completely changes the road trip equation. But I have to be critical here. Pushing a battery that hard, that fast, doesn't that just destroy its lifespan? Or raise the risk of overheating?
That is the fundamental challenge, and that's what they claim to have engineered around. The solution is in the synergy between that 800-volt architecture and the battery chemistry itself.
What kind of chemistry are we talking about?
It's the combination. So most performance EVs use 800-volt systems now, but Xpeng is coupling it with next-gen 5C supercharging lithium iron phosphate technology, LFP.
Okay, hold on. 5C. What does the C stand for in battery terms, and why is 5 such a big deal?
So C is the charge rate relative to the battery's total capacity. A 1C rate means you can, in theory, charge the battery from empty to full in 1 hour.
Okay.
At 2C, you do it in half an hour. By moving to a 5C rate, you're pushing 5 times the battery's standard capacity into it per hour. That's how you get those insane 12-minute top-ups.
But that sounds like it would cause massive stress on the battery cell.
It normally would, and that's where the LFP chemistry comes in. It's not just a cheaper, more sustainable choice because it eliminates cobalt and nickel. It's actually a performance enabler.
How so?
LFP cells just naturally have better thermal stability than, say, traditional NMC chemistries. They're more resistant to the internal stresses of all those lithium ions moving around so quickly.
So they can handle that extreme 5C input without degrading as quickly.
Precisely, and that's also why the new power packs are built to be so durable. The sources say they can withstand temperatures up to 1,000 degrees Celsius and side impacts of 80 tons of pressure. That kind of structural integrity is absolutely essential when you're managing that much electricity.
What about the cold, though? That's always the Achilles heel for EVs. Anyone who's driven one in a real winter knows that charging speeds just plummet.
A crucial point, especially if you want to sell globally. And Xpeng seems to have really optimized their thermal management. They're reporting that even in a brutally cold minus 30 degrees Celsius environment,
So proper winter.
the 10 to 80% top-up time only increases to 15 minutes.
Only 3 minutes longer.
Which is incredible consistency. It removes a huge headache for EV drivers in colder climates.
Okay, so the powertrain it's revolutionary. Let's pivot to the vehicle it's wrapped in, specifically the G9. It's clearly targeting that premium luxury SUV market.
It is, and it's built for space and utility. It's about 4.9 meters long, 1.9 meters wide, and crucially, it has a 3-meter wheelbase.
And that long wheelbase is key for interior space, right?
It's everything. It translates directly into more legroom and real comfort for everyone, not just the people up front.
And they haven't given up utility for that comfort. The luggage capacity is pretty competitive, 660 liters with the seats up.
And that expands to a massive 1,576 liters with them down. Plus, you get an extra 71 liters in the front.
The frunk is always a welcome bonus for cables and things.
Always. And that robust engineering we talked about, it allows them to really push the performance numbers too.
Right, the G9 performance model. For a luxury SUV that weighs, 2.4 tons, the acceleration is, well, some sources called it savage.
And that's not an exaggeration. The dual-motor, all-wheel drive performance model gives you 423 kilowatts, that's 576 horsepower, and 695 newton-meters of torque.
So what does that translate to in the real world?
It means this big, comfortable SUV hits 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.2 seconds.
That's squarely in the territory of high-performance German SUVs.
Exactly the segment they're aiming for.
And what about the range options if you're prioritizing distance over that neck-snapping acceleration?
They offer 3 main setups. The standard range has an 80.3 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, good for about 502 kilometers.
Still with a pretty punchy motor.
Oh yeah, 351 horsepower. Then the long range steps up to a bigger 94.6 kilowatt-hour battery, pushing the range to 585 kilometers.
And the performance model.
It uses that same big battery, the 94.6, but the range drops slightly to 540 kilometers. A totally fair trade-off for that huge power boost and all-wheel drive.
Now, to handle all that weight and speed, you need a serious suspension system.
Absolutely. The G9 has adaptive air suspension with hydraulic dampers. That's a must-have feature in the luxury segment.
It lets you change the feel of the car from comfortable to sporty.
Exactly. But it's also incredibly practical. You can adjust the ground clearance from just over 3 inches for highway driving up to nearly 8 inches for rougher roads.
And I saw they have an easy entry function.
Yeah, the car automatically lowers itself when you open the door. It's one of those subtle, thoughtful touches that really defines a premium vehicle.
And those touches lead us right into the cabin.
Huh.
The sources describe the G9's interior as offering genuinely first-class seating. That's a bold claim.
It is, but they're backing it up with materials and features that really compete with the European brands. They're using something they call baby-safe Nappa leather.
What does that even mean?
It means it meets these incredibly strict OEO tech standards, the kind usually reserved for products for infants. So it's not just about feeling luxurious, it's about being non-toxic. It's a new angle to compete on.
And the features list seems endless, especially for comfort.
It really is. Up front, you get 12-way power seats, heating, ventilation, and a 10-point massage system.
Standard stuff for luxury cars these days.
True, but the critical thing is they extended that to the second row. Rear passengers also get power reclining, heating, ventilation, and their own massage function.
So it's not just a car for the driver. It's a true 4-seater luxury experience.
Exactly. It puts it in direct competition with the rear seat comfort of something like a Mercedes EQS or a BMW iX.
Now let's move from physical comfort to the digital side. The tech inside the G9 and G6 has had a major upgrade too.
A huge upgrade. Both models get bigger screens, a 10.25-inch cluster for the driver, and a big 15.6-inch infotainment screen.
But the real upgrade is the processor behind them, right?
That's right. The whole system is driven by the much faster Qualcomm 8295 processor. This is key to getting a really slick, fast, responsive interface. None of that lag you see in older systems.
And that processing power also feeds into the driver assist systems. The X-Pilot system sounds like it's running on some serious hardware.
It is serious hardware. It uses dual NVIDIA driving chips. Together, they deliver 58 trillion operations per second. 58 TOPS.
Okay, break that down for me. 58 TOPS is a number that just flies over most people's heads. What does that power actually do?
Think of it like this. It's enough computing power to stream dozens of movies at once, but the car is dedicating all of it to just one thing: perception. The AI takes all the data from the cameras and radars and fuses it together in real time.
To make predictive decisions.
Instantaneous, complex, predictive decisions. That's what you need for navigating a tricky intersection or eventually for level 3 autonomous driving.
And for the G9, they actually removed the physical LiDAR unit that was on earlier versions. How can they claim better perception with less hardware?
It's a classic move from relying on hardware to relying on software and processing. They maxed out the other sensors, 11 cameras, 3 millimeter wave radars, 12 ultrasonic radars.
And they pair that with the new AI.
Exactly. By doing that, they've boosted the vehicle's visual perception distance by 125% over the old LiDAR model. The system can recognize objects 40% faster.
Which buys the car critical milliseconds to react.
That's the whole game. It's about reaction time.
And this tech is going to be in the G6 as well.
Yes. The G6 will get the AI-powered infotainment and upgraded driver assist, potentially offering Level 3 autonomous cruise control. That's hands-off, eyes-off driving in specific conditions. It shows how fast this tech is moving down the lineup.
All right, let's wrap this up by looking at the market. All this tech is great, but it doesn't mean much if the price is out of reach. How are they positioning this against the established players?
They're being very, very aggressive on price. They know they need to offer undeniable value to steal customers from the German brands. In Europe, the G9 starts around 63,000 euros and goes up to about 77,000 for that top-tier performance model.
For a vehicle with this level of tech, luxury, and performance, that is.
Yeah.
That's highly disruptive.
It is, but they still have to overcome that brand trust gap.
Right. How do you convince an Audi or Mercedes buyer to switch? How are they showing confidence in their own engineering?
With warranties. They're using them as a direct statement. The G9 comes with an 8-year battery warranty and a 7-year vehicle warranty covering 160,000 kilometers.
That's substantial.
And in new markets like Australia, the G6 will get an even longer 10-year local warranty. They're basically saying, we know this tech is reliable and we'll put our money where our mouth is.
That's how you build trust. So when we put it all together, the 5C charging, the LFT chemistry, the luxury interior, the insane processing power, what's the final verdict?
The verdict is that Xpeng has successfully positioned itself as a real innovator. They aren't just copying the West. On the charging front, they're forcing the West to try and catch up.
The sources did mention a few minor drawbacks.
They did. The ride around town can apparently be a little firm, even with the adaptive suspension, and the driver assist system still needs some software tweaks for local road conditions.
But those sound like fixable software issues, not fundamental hardware problems.
Exactly. Minor points in an otherwise groundbreaking package.
So it seems the conclusion is that the question isn't if Chinese EVs can compete anymore, it's whether premium buyers are ready to accept a Chinese brand in that 60, 70,000 euro price range.
And based on these specs, the traditional luxury brands should be paying very, very close attention. The pace of innovation is just incredible.
So, to summarize our deep dive, the 2026 Xpeng G6 and G9 are redefining fast charging with peaks up to 525 kilowatts. They're offering genuine luxury, massive tech upgrades, and solid warranties, all at a price designed to shake things up. The technology is now officially moving faster than the infrastructure. And that leads to the final thought for you, our listener. These 12-minute charge times are technically possible today.
Yeah.
If the charging infrastructure catches up globally in the next couple of years, how quickly does that last bit of range anxiety just disappear for good?
It's a future that's arriving faster than we thought. Thank you for letting us dig into this material. The sheer density of the tech in these sources was a real pleasure to unpack.
It really was. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Oh.
If you enjoyed this analysis of the Xpeng G6 and G9 and you want to stay ahead of the curve, be sure to follow the channel. You won't want to miss our next discussion. Until next time.